This week, we are going to crack the code to English fluency. I am going to give you 9 tips that will transform your English today. Are you ready? Well then, I'm Teacher Tiffany. Let's jump right in. Here's tip number 1. Tip number 1 is read a short news article and summarize. Listen very closely. Read a short news article in English and summarize it in writing. This will improve reading comprehension and writing skills. The key is to summarize what you have read. Let me explain why this is the first insider tip to improve your English fluency. Reason number 1, why this is so important. It exposes you to various vocabulary, sentence structures, and writing styles. Your brain, my friend, is absolutely amazing. So as you're taking information in, as you're reading these articles, you're actually seeing various patterns. You're seeing sentence structures. You're seeing new words used in context, which will affect your ability to speak English fluently. The second reason why this tip is so important is it enhances your understanding of how information is organized and conveyed in written English. When you improve your reading skills, you actually will end up improving your speaking skills. Now, we'll talk about confidence. Don't worry, I believe in you, right? But again, this will enhance your understanding of how information is organized. When you're learning another language, it's important for you to learn how people who speak that language actually think. How do they organize their thoughts? That's why I talk about the 5 W's all the time. Who, what, when, where, and why. In the last lesson, if you didn't see it, please go watch it after this lesson. I talked about the simple rule of 3s. Reasons, explanations, or examples, and also giving your ideas in a clear way using the simple rule of 3s, right? This is important for you as you're reading following this tip. The third reason is it helps develop your ability to extract key information and summarize it effectively. Your goal is to speak English fluently, right? You want to sound like a native English speaker. My friend, I believe in you. I know you're smart enough. In order to achieve this goal, though, you must understand how to pick out the key pieces of information. Because English fluency is not just about talking for long periods of time. No, it's about getting the key pieces of information and presenting them clearly, which is why I teach you English. My goal this year is to help you achieve your English goals. So it's important for you to be able to pick out the key information. Now, don't forget, you can practice what you're learning. All you have to do is download the English with Tiffany app. It's free. The link is in the description. But I want you to be able to organize your thoughts by seeing how other native English speakers actually organize their thoughts. So, tip number 2 to crack the code of English fluency is listen to a podcast or watch a video. These tips seem so simple, but sometimes the simplest things have the greatest results. Once again, the 5 W's. The simple rule of 3s. These things that I'm teaching you, they're simple, but when you put them into practice, ooh-wee, your English will change. So listen to this. Listen to a podcast episode or watch a YouTube video in English, here's the key, on a topic of interest, something you actually care about. Take notes on key points and vocabulary. We're going back to what we talked about in tip number 1. You need to be able to grab the key pieces of information. This will help you be able to speak English fluently. Remember, we're cracking the code to English fluency. Being able to clearly express your ideas, your thoughts, and your opinions. So, here are 3 reasons why this tip is so important. Reason number 1. It improves your listening comprehension when you're listening to podcasts or listening as you watch a video. It improves your listening comprehension skills by exposing you to different accents, speech patterns, and vocabulary used in real-life conversations. In a class I taught just yesterday for my academy students, one of my students said, "Tiff, I remember when I first joined your academy, I wasn't able to understand people using different accents. But now it doesn't matter where a person is from, which part of the United States or which part of the world, I can understand them." Why? Because they've listened to so many conversations I have in my academy. Natural and real conversations where people have different accents, and they've spoken to other English learners who have different accents. The more you listen, the more your listening skills will improve, and this will affect your English fluency. Secondly, it helps you develop the ability to identify and understand specific information, such as main ideas, supporting details, or opinions expressed. Listen, think about a child, because right now I know you're wondering, "Tiff, I'm enjoying the lesson, but I just don't see how me listening to something or reading something is going to affect my speaking ability." Remember, I'm talking about getting the key pieces of information. You're literally, with these first two tips, training your brain to get the most important points. It's like a child. When a child first learns how to speak a language, whether it be your language or English, right? Kids in America, right? My nieces, right? When they were little. Your children or your nieces, your nephews. Children are listening before they can speak properly, picking out key pieces of information so when they formulate their first sentences, they know, hey, let me put the key information. I don't just want to say "and the it." No, I want to say "I want the cup," right? They pick out the most important pieces of information. This is what you're training your brain to do. The third reason, taking notes as you're listening to a podcast or watching a video encourages active listening and reinforces vocabulary acquisition. As you're listening, if you're taking notes, you're telling your brain, hey, these are the words. This is the information that is important. I want to retain these words. I want to keep these pieces of information so that I can use them later. We're talking about cracking the code to English fluency. Here's tip number 3 I want you to pay attention to. Tip number 3, find an English language TV show. Now pay attention very closely. Find an English language TV show, movie, or series and watch one episode with English subtitles. Focus on understanding the dialogue and try to pick up new expressions. Notice I said an English language TV show, not a TV show that has English subtitles but they're speaking in another language. No, you need to find a TV show. Again, you're learning American English, right? Find an American TV show. Watch it. Turn the subtitles in English on. It's totally okay. Try to figure out what they're talking about. Read their facial expressions. Watch their body language as they're saying certain things. Try to grasp as they're speaking new concepts, new patterns, new structures, new expressions. This is all part of speaking English fluently. Why is this important? This tip. First reason, here's why this is so important. It familiarizes you with colloquial language, slang, and idiomatic expressions commonly used in everyday conversations. The way I'm speaking to you right now, I know I'm speaking clearly, you can understand me, but I don't speak like this when I'm speaking to my friends. I speak clearly, but I use different words. Why? Because we're American. I can be more comfortable as far as the way that I'm speaking. I'm in teacher mode right now, right? And I'm happy to teach you. When I switch it though, I don't want you to be confused, which is exactly why I give you story time at the end. Now during story time, I'm completely natural and I use idiomatic expressions. I use colloquial terms. Why? Because I want you, my friend, to understand and be able to use them in the future. That's why this tip is so important. Here's the second reason. It improves your listening skills by training your ear to recognize spoken words and phrases in context. We're talking about cracking the code to English fluency. You can do it. I believe in you. It's just about knowing the tips and tricks that will work. Here's the third reason. It provides visual and contextual cues that aid in understanding, allowing you to bridge the gap between written and spoken English. Remember earlier I said, watch their facial expressions, watch their body language, see how they're actually moving as they're speaking. These things will help you adapt and actually start using what native English speakers are using in those television programs, all right? Helping you crack the code to English fluency. Here's tip number 4. Write a diary entry. Write a diary entry in English describing your day or expressing your thoughts. This helps improve writing fluency, term I like to use, writing fluency, and self-expression, all right? When you write your thoughts down, you're actually helping yourself be able to formulate your ideas, which will affect your English fluency. Here's the first reason why this is so important. Reason number 1, it promotes regular writing practice, allowing you to experiment with vocabulary and sentence structures in a safe environment. It's your notebook. Listen, you see all these notebooks behind me if you're watching the YouTube video. I have tons of notebooks because your teacher also writes down many things throughout the day. It helps you process your thoughts. Write in an English diary. Reason number 2, it helps you express yourself more fluently and coherently as you learn to articulate your thoughts in written form. Listen, it's going to make you a better English speaker. Why? Because as you're writing, you're practicing organizing your thoughts, formulating your ideas, getting a clear way to express your opinions. And third, the third reason is it develops your writing fluency. I told you earlier, writing fluency, by building confidence and encouraging you, my friend, to think in English. We're talking about cracking the code to English fluency. So far, these 4 tips, you can do each of them even if you're studying on your own. This is why I create these YouTube videos, these lessons, and this podcast for the audio listeners, because I want to encourage you. You can do it even if you're by yourself right now in your country. You can follow these tips and crack the code to English fluency. Here's tip number 5. Learn 5 new English words or phrases. Again, learn 5 new English words or phrases. When you do this, write them down, create example sentences, and try to use them. Here's the key. Try to use them in conversations throughout the day. The same day you learn a new word, the same day you learn a new expression, try to use that word or that expression throughout the day. Why is this so important? Why does this work? Reason number 1, it expands your vocabulary, enabling you to express yourself more precisely and effectively. Put it to use. Don't worry about making mistakes. You hear me say it all the time, and my academy students hear me say it all the time. Don't worry about mistakes. Just try. That's all you got to do. Reason number 2, it improves your ability to understand and use idiomatic expressions. The more you try, you're learning 5 new words or expressions one day, and then you're putting them into practice on that day, applying them to your actual life. And reason number 3, it reinforces learning through active usage, helping you internalize new words and phrases. For example, one word that literally every English learner, every student, every member of our family in the Speak English with Tiffany Academy, they know how to use this word. The word is elated. And if you're my student, I know you're shaking your head right now. Yes, Tiff, I know how to use that word. The word is elated. It means extremely happy. Why? they keep using the word on a regular basis. After they learned it, they used it in practical situations, real life conversations, and now it's really a part of their vocabulary database. So the students in my program, they know how to use